Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour, Prime Minister Modi inaugurates a new international airport at Navi Mumbai, launches the last phase of Mumbai's Metro Line 3. Prime Minister Modi inaugurates Asia's largest telecom, media and technology event, the India Mobile Congress in New Delhi. Says India recently launched its Made in India 4G stack. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer leads the largest ever trade delegation to India to hold talks with Prime Minister Modi in Mumbai on Thursday. Militants ambush a Pakistani military convoy, kill 11 soldiers. The Pakistani Taliban claims responsibility for the attack. And gold prices hit a fresh high, zoomed past $4,000 for the first time in history, up 54% so far this year. First up, Prime Minister Modi inaugurated Asia's largest telecom, media and technology event, the India Mobile Congress in New Delhi on Wednesday. Hailing the nation's digital progress, PM Modi said India recently launched its Made in India 4G stack, marking a major indigenous achievement and a significant step towards digital self-reliance. The next report tells you more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 9th edition of the India Mobile Congress 2025 in New Delhi, which is Asia's largest telecom, media and technology event. The PM noted that witnessing presentations on vital subjects like financial fraud prevention, quantum communication, 6G, optical communication and semiconductors reinforces the belief that India's technological future rests in capable hands. He extended his best wishes for the event and all new initiatives. PM highlighted the efforts of the government to combat the risk of cybersecurity threats in the country.
आज हम देश में साइबर सिक्योरिटी को भी उतनी ही प्राथमिकता दे रहे हैं। साइबर फ्रॉड्स के खिलाफ कानून सख्त किए गए हैं और अकाउंटेबिलिटी भी बढ़ाई है और ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल के मैकेनिज्म को भी बेहतर किया गया है।
PM said that India recently launched its Made in India 4G stack, marking a major indigenous achievement and a significant step towards digital self-reliance.
कुछ दिन पहले ही भारत ने अपना मेड इन इंडिया 4G स्टैक लॉन्च किया है। ये देश की बड़ी स्वदेशी उपलब्धि है। अब भारत दुनिया के उन 5 देशों की लिस्ट में आ गया है जिनके पास ये सामर्थ्य है। ये डिजिटल सेल्फ रिलायंस की दिशा में, टेक्नोलॉजिकल इंडिपेंडेंस की दिशा में देश का एक बड़ा कदम है।
Speaking at the event, India's Communications Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia said that India has transformed from technology taker to the digital flag bearer of the world.
India today has become the digital flag bearer of the world. Our mobile data costs have fallen in the last 11 years by 98%. There was a time when a single minute of voice was a luxury, access was an aspiration. But today, India is home to 20% of the world's mobile population, 1.2 billion subscribers.
Over 150,000 visitors from over 150 countries 7,000 plus global delegates and 400 plus companies are participating in the event. Over 1,600 new use cases across areas such as 5G, 6G, AI, smart mobility, cybersecurity, quantum computing, and green technology are being showcased at IMC 2025. Bureau Report, DD India.
The western Indian city of Mumbai on Wednesday received a long-awaited gift. Prime Minister Modi inaugurated Phase 1 of the Navi Mumbai International Airport, marking a new chapter in India's aviation expansion. The Prime Minister also dedicated key infrastructure projects that promise to redefine urban mobility and connectivity in India's financial capital.
Prime Minister Modi inaugurated Phase 1 of the Navi Mumbai International Airport, which is Mumbai's second international airport and India's largest greenfield aviation project. Spread across 1,160 hectares, the airport will handle up to 90 million passengers and 3.25 million metric tons of cargo annually. The facility features a dedicated sustainable aviation fuel hub of 47 megawatt solar power capacity and EV bus connectivity to the city. The Prime Minister hailed the rapid growth of India's aviation sector, noting that the number of airports has more than doubled from 74 in 2014 to 160 today.
इस नए एयरपोर्ट से महाराष्ट्र के किसान यूरोप और मिडिल ईस्ट के सुपरमार्केट से भी जुड़ जाएंगे। यानी किसान की ताजा उपज, फल, फूल, सब्जी और मछुआरों के उत्पाद तेजी से ग्लोबल मार्केट तक पहुंच पाएंगे।
PM Modi also dedicated final phase of Mumbai's Metro Line 3 to the nation. Built at a cost of over 37,270 crore, the 33.5-kilometer Aqua Line runs from Cuff Parade to Array via 27 stations and will serve around 1.3 million commuters daily. The Prime Minister took a swipe at Maharashtra's previous government for stalling the project during its tenure.
देश में एक ऐसी राजनीतिक धारा भी रही है जो जनता की सुविधा नहीं, सत्ता की सुविधा को ऊपर रखती है। ये वो लोग हैं जो विकास के काम में रुकावट डालते हैं, घोटाले घपले करके विकास के जुड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स को पटरी से उतार देते हैं। दशकों तक देश ने ऐसे नुकसान को देखा है।
The Prime Minister launched the unified Mumbai One mobility app, integrating 11 public transport operators and rolled out a new employment readiness program for Maharashtra. He also unveiled the short-term employability program under Maharashtra's Skill Development Department to be implemented across 400 government ITIs and 150 technical high schools aimed at aligning youth skills with industry demand and enhancing job readiness. With these projects, Mumbai takes a giant leap towards becoming a cleaner, more connected and future-ready metropolis. Bureau Report, TT India.
The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is in Mumbai for a landmark two-day visit to India, leading a big 125-member trade delegation. The visit further strengthens the UK-India partnership following the July 2025 trade deal, focusing on trade, technology, defense and innovation, aiming to boost economic growth and deepen strategic ties between the two countries. DD India's Mohammad Absarul Hassan has the details.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is in India for a two-day visit. He's leading a big 125-member team. This is his first visit since becoming UK PM. The trip builds on the new UK-India trade deal signed in July 2025, which cuts tariffs and creates more business opportunities in both the countries. Before the visit, Starmer called the deal a launchpad for growth, intending to strengthen business and strategic ties with India. On Thursday, PM Starmer and PM Narendra Modi will review progress under the UK-India Strategic Partnership and Vision 2030 plan. They will focus on trade, technology, defense, energy, health, and education. Later, both leaders will attend the CEO Forum and speak at the Global FinTech Fest in Mumbai. The event focuses on using AI and innovation in finance and will host over 100,000 people from 75 plus countries. India and the UK share strong economic ties with a shared goal of faster economic growth and closer cooperation. India UK Free Trade Agreement signed to boost trade and reduce tariffs. FTA offers zero duty access on 99% of tariff lines for Indian exports. UK's GDP expected to rise £4.8 billion annually due to the FTA. Tariffs on UK whiskey and cars to reduce gradually over 10 years. India UK Joint Economic and Trade Committee drives trade and investment cooperation. Defense cooperation includes joint military exercises and technology sharing. UK is India's sixth largest investor with over $35 billion invested. Indian diaspora in UK employs 174,000 and owns 65,000 companies. Education ties include 170,000 Indian students in UK and new university campuses planned. Migration partnership enables easier professional movement between India and UK. The UK-India partnership is entering a new era of growth and collaboration. With strong trade ties, defense cooperation, and people to people connections, both nations are set to deepen economic, strategic, and cultural bonds, building a prosperous future together for decades to come. Mohammad Absarul Hassan for DD India.
India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and Peter Kyle, the UK Secretary of State for Business and Trade, held a meeting in Mumbai to chart a renewed course for the India-UK trade and investment partnership. The meeting marked a significant step towards operationalizing the India-UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, with both ministers agreeing to reposition the Joint Economic and Trade Committee to oversee its implementation and delivery. Both sides underline their commitment to ensuring swift, coordinated and result-oriented implementation of the agreement. The ministers reaffirmed their shared ambition to double bilateral trade by the year 2030. Ahead of the meeting, a series of sectoral roundtables were held across priority sectors, including advanced manufacturing, consumer goods, food and drinks, science, technology and innovation, construction, infrastructure and clean energy, and financial, professional and business services. The India-UK CEO Forum was also held, bringing together business leaders from both countries to discuss new opportunities for trade, investment and innovation. Yash Raj Film, India's leading film production and distribution company, has confirmed plans to bring their major productions to locations across the United Kingdom from early 2026. To mark the announcement, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer visited Yash Raj Studios in Mumbai on Wednesday, alongside a delegation of some of Britain's biggest names in film, including the British Film Institute, the British Film Commission, Pinewood Studios, Elstree Studios and Civic Studios. Yash Raj's studio completes 20 years of operations in India on 12th October. India is the largest producer of films in the world, and Yash Raj's commitment follows an 8-year hiatus from filming in the UK, showcasing the impact the UK-India trade deal is already having. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Vietnam records highest flood levels on 3 rivers since 1986. And 3 scientists share the 2025 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. To West Asia now, where the region is at a crossroads as the second anniversary of the Hamas's deadly 7th October 2023 attack passes. Indirect talks in Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh involving the US, Israeli, Qatari and Turkish officials are focusing on a ceasefire, disarmament and the release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners. The outcome of these negotiations could reshape the region's fragile balance, testing the limits of diplomacy, security and the pursuit of lasting peace. DD India's Nishchoy Roy brings you more.
As Israel marked the second anniversary of Hamas's deadly October 7 attack on Tuesday, the nation reaffirmed its resolve to defend its citizens and uphold security, even as diplomatic efforts continue to seek stability in the region. In Jerusalem, far-right Israeli minister Itamar Ben-Gvir prayed at Al-Aqsa, asserting Jewish sovereignty over the Temple Mount while calling for a complete victory over Hamas.
We are 2 years after the terrible massacre here on the Temple Mount, where there is victory. Every house in Gaza has a picture of the Temple Mount, and today, 2 years later, we are winning on the Temple Mount. We are the owners of the Temple Mount. I only pray that our Prime Minister will allow a complete victory in Gaza, as well as to destroy Hamas. With God's help, we will return the hostages and we will win a complete victory.
In Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh, indirect talks on President Trump's 20-point Gaza plan have entered the third day. Meanwhile, Hamas has shared hostage prisoners list, signaling hope for a swap, but expressed its unwillingness for disarmament and demanded full Israeli withdrawal. A high-level U.S. delegation, including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, is expected to join the talks, alongside Israeli Minister Ron Dermer. Mediations from Qatar and Turkey are also involved in the negotiations. As negotiations press on, all eyes remain on the region, with hopes that dialogue, careful diplomacy, and steadfast resolve can turn a tense anniversary into a stepping stone towards lasting peace. With Nishchoy Roy, Amit Mukherjee for DD India.
Russian drones attacked an oil depot in Ukraine's Chernihiv region on Wednesday. The local governor for emergency services posted a video on social media showing firefighters battling a large blaze in the Prilyuki district. However, Governor Chow said in his post that Russian-attacked drones struck an oil depot in Prilyuki. Germany plans to give police the authority to shoot down rogue drones following disruptions at airports across Europe. The new law, approved by the cabinet and awaiting parliamentary approval, allows action against drones posing serious threats. A federal counter-drone unit will be set up, joining countries such as Britain, France, Lithuania and Romania in strengthening airspace security.
The first pillar is to establish a joint drone defense center to ensure that the federal states and the federal government can carry out joint assessment and defense measures. Secondly, to establish a drone defense unit within the federal police force. This will be set up shortly. And thirdly, to enable development and research so that we can respond appropriately to the latest drone technologies and defend ourselves.
European Commission's President Ursula von der Leyen has warned that recent drone incidents across the continent signal a new phase of hybrid warfare, urging Europe to move beyond traditional defense measures. Addressing the European Parliament in Strasbourg on Wednesday, von der Leyen said this is not random harassment. While she stopped short of directly blaming Russia for all incidents, she noted that Moscow's goal appears to be to sow division within Europe. She said the EU now faces a critical choice to retreat and allow Russian threats to grow or to confront them with unity, deterrence and firm resolve.
Tackling Russia's hybrid war is not only about traditional defense. It is about software for drones. It is about spare parts for pipelines. It is about rapid cyber response teams, and it is about public information campaigns to spread awareness. So this requires a completely new mindset for all of us. We must be ready to leave our comfort zone. We need to explore new ways of doing things. And most importantly, we must deter everyone who seeks to harm our territory and our people.
Islamist militants ambushed a Pakistani military convoy near the Afghan border on Wednesday, killing 9 soldiers and 2 officers. The Pakistani Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack. Roadside bombs hit the convoy before a large number of militants launched a gun attack in the northwestern district of Khurram in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The Pakistani army said its soldiers died during an operation that killed 19 Islamist militants in the adjoining district of Orakzai. A U.S. Navy destroyer, the USS Fitzgerald, arrived in Bangladesh on Wednesday for a 3-day goodwill visit aimed at deepening bilateral naval cooperation. The vessel was welcomed by Bangladesh Navy ship BNS Abu Ubaidah, with officers from both sides and representatives from the U.S. Embassy in Dhaka attending the ceremony. The mission underscores growing defense engagement between the two countries following a similar visit by U.S. Navy ship in the year 2022. The Fitzgerald is scheduled to depart Bangladeshi waters on the 10th of October. Record floods submerged streets and inundated homes in Vietnam on Wednesday, leaving tens of thousands of people stranded, with at least 8 killed this week. Floodwaters reached the tops of cars and rooftops in areas of Tai Nguyen City, about 80 kilometers north of the capital Hanoi, with many left stuck at home and others forced to flee. The Environment Ministry said 8 people were killed in flash floods and landslides in Vietnam's mountainous north since Monday, and 5 others were missing. Scientists Susumu Kitagawa, Richard Robson and Omar Yagi won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for the development of a new type of molecular architecture. The 3 scientists created metal organic frameworks containing large cavities in which molecules can flow in and out. They use them to harvest water from desert air, extract pollutants from water, capture carbon dioxide and store hydrogen. The 2025 Nobel Prize in Physics has gone to 3 brilliant minds, John Clark, Michel H. Deveray and John M. Martinez, for a discovery that turns the mysteries of the quantum world into real-world technology. Their breakthrough shows that the strange rules governing the tiniest particles can exist in circuits we can hold, a finding that's powering the future of quantum computing. It's a report by DD India's Harshita Oberoi.
In Stockholm, the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences announced the winners of the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physics, John Clark, Michel Deveray and John Martinez. Their discovery, macroscopic quantum tunneling and energy quantization in an electric circuit, has changed how we see the universe. The 3 US-based scientists will share 11 million Swedish crowns, about $1.2 million. In the 1980s, their quiet experiments sparked a scientific revolution. They showed that the bizarre behavior of particles, once thought confined to the microscopic world, could be seen in large, man-made systems.
I was absolutely stunned. It never occurred to me in my entire life that I would win a prize like this.
To understand their feat, picture a world where electrons pass through barriers they shouldn't. That's quantum tunneling. Clark and his colleagues built a circuit with 2 superconductors separated by an insulating layer. Against logic, the current slipped through the barrier, proof that quantum effects could happen on a visible scale. Even more astonishingly, they found that energy moved in discrete jumps, or quanta, instead of flowing smoothly. This energy quantization became the cornerstone of quantum computing. Today, these principles drive superconducting qubits, the heart of quantum computers, machines that can model molecules, invent new materials, and even decode the universe itself.
Important because it helps us understand quantum mechanics much better. It helps us understand that there is no limit. There is no, the limit that we thought that it's just in the subatomic world, that is not a limit. The laws of quantum mechanics hold all the way.
Laureate John Martinez, who later led Google's quantum AI lab, demonstrated quantum supremacy. Alongside Michel Devoret and John Clark, he continues shaping quantum computing, inspiring the next generation of scientists and engineers. The Nobel Prize in Physics, first awarded in 1901 for the discovery of X-rays, honors breakthroughs that transform our understanding of nature, from Einstein's theory of light to the mysteries of black holes and quantum entanglement. This year's award reminds the world that the strangest ideas can one day power the most practical technologies. What began as an experiment in a quiet lab 40 years ago has become the spark behind the computers of the future. Harshita Oberoi's report for DD India.
New Delhi will host the 8th International Solar Alliance's Assembly from 27th to 30th of October. India's new and renewable energy minister Prahlad Joshi announced that the assembly will set the tone for the ultimate goal of a solar-powered world.
To build up the skill and exchange the ideas, exchange the technologies and popularize the solar, and also showcase the success story of the PM Suryaghar Mufti Bijli Yojana, that is rooftop solar, and agri solar, that is especially for the irrigation purpose. Whatever is being done in India, that also will be showcased, and Assembly will deliberate on the key themes for the facilitating the action, aim to push private capital mobilization through the Africa Solar Facility and the Global Solar Facility.
And DD India's Akhilesh Suman spoke to the Director General of the International Solar Alliance on activities and agenda for the future. Take a listen.
Director General of International Solar Alliance, Mr. Ashish Khanna is with me. Mr. Khanna, how do you see India's contribution in International Solar Alliance? Because India has been one of the founders and headquarters is based in Delhi.
First of all, thank you for having me, Akhilesh. You know, success breeds success. So India is now world's third largest solar power, and it has achieved its 2030 target 5 years in advance. So when an organization like ISA, stationed in India, born out of Indian initiative, takes this message, then it is much more credible. So we are trying to take the policies, regulations, both for solar rooftop, for solar pumps and agriculture, to the rest of the world, in addition to a lot of human capability of how India's manpower has managed to make this transition. All of that is being taken to 124 countries.
COP is going to be, organized in Brazil. So what is the agenda that International Solar Alliance is going to put forward in the COP?
You know, the main agenda for COP now is people want to move out of workshops and conferences to real projects. And ISA's own strategy of moving from ambition to action goes exactly on that line. So 2 programs of ISA, one is on small island developing states, where 16 island states are come together to do a joint e-procurement of solar and batteries, will be showcased in Belem. And secondly, a digitization, because we are taking all the digital experiences of utilities of India now to Brazil and Africa. Both these are the highlights of COP in Belem.
And finally, how do you see the contribution of ISA in coming days?
As I mentioned, because the world has moved from 1,000 gigawatt in 25 years of solar to 2,000 in just 2 years, and we are likely to double 2,000 to 4,000 in just another 2-3 years. All of that is testimony that solar with batteries is the future of energy security for most countries. Our role becomes important because 80% of all new investments in the next 5 years will happen in solar. Our job is that this pace is sustained and increased, and more importantly, smaller countries, low-income countries that are still not seeing enough solar start getting a lot more benefit of solar as well. That is a role, and how do we do it? We create platforms where countries can come together and work together.
Thank you so much, sir. So, Mr. Khanna is telling that International Solar Alliance has to play a vital role, in the field of renewable energy. Akhilesh Suman with camera person Naveen Kumar in Delhi for DD India.
Still to come on DD India News Hour. An expert take on India-UK relations in light of Prime Minister Starmer's visit to Mumbai. And the Indian Air Force celebrates its 93rd Foundation Day.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Right, going back to the top story we are tracking here on DD India, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer visits Mumbai at the head of the largest ever UK trade delegation to India. And joining us is Ambassador Gayatri Isar Kumar. Ambassador Kumar is a former High Commissioner of India to the United Kingdom. She also served as Ambassador to Belgium, the European Union and Luxembourg. Ambassador Kumar, welcome to DD India News Hour. Now, it's Prime Minister Starmer's maiden visit to India. For a change, Mumbai is hosting him, not New Delhi. But perhaps it's only fitting that he is leading a 125-strong trade delegation to talk business in India's financial capital.
Absolutely. And although all visits of UK Prime Ministers to India are met with a lot of anticipation, this visit follows the signing of the landmark Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, and that actually marked an optimistic uptick in India-UK economic cooperation. It is just at a time when global geopolitics and global trading are facing unprecedented disruptions and uncertainty from unilateral sanctions and punitive tariffs. So the focus is again on trade. It has been ever since the UK exited the European Union. Our two prime ministers at that time had discussed the 8 and identified the 8 pillars for priority focus in the bilateral agenda, and trade had been again from then onwards at the very top. So this the conclusion of the successful negotiations for a comprehensive economic and trade agreement is really a momentous event. Not only is it the most comprehensive for India, but also it sets a new template for India and other important trade partners, and also brings a lot of relief to our exporters across the sectors.
Indeed. Ambassador Kumar, since you spoke about the free trade agreement, the India-UK FTA was signed on 24 July this year, but there's no word yet on when it will be implemented or come into force. Now, PM Starmer says as soon as humanly possible. Is ratification causing delays? I mean, what's the hold-up?
I would call it a hold-up or a delay.
Okay.
Of course, we are all impatient, and the stakeholders would like to see it happen sooner rather than later. But it's usually the procedure is that the most important part is agreeing on the provisions And this has been done, and really both sides would need to complete internal legal and regulatory and parliamentary and administrative procedures. And also, as we have agreed in the agreement, some of the tariff cuts and policy changes may be phased in over a period of time rather than all at once. So the full benefits may take, be maybe operationalized in a phased manner. But it's just the legal scrubbing. I've heard 10 months from the date of signing. But yes, the UK's ratification process is relatively elaborate. Operational start possibly in 2026 is more realistic. On our side, our cabinet has approved the provisions that we have negotiated. So I think der hai andher nahi.
Indeed. Now, in Mumbai, Ambassador Kumar, Starmer told the accompanying British media that the UK will not relax visa rules for India. He says that there were no plans to open up more visa routes to Indian workers or students. But from an Indian perspective, isn't mobility part of the FTA?
Yes, definitely. We have very, very important business mobility provisions, and the FTA establishes, sort of a framework or conditions, and facilitates temporary business-related travel and work, which was one of our key asks. And this is, normally in the shape of short-term assignments, professional exchanges. So business visitors, it's been prescribed how many days they're allowed to stay up to within a 6-month period, so that their short-term business engagements are facilitated. Then intra-corporate transferees have some provisions, eligibility for families to join them. Then you have intra-corporate rules for graduate trainees, so that young professionals can come in and out and gain international experience. Then you have provisions for contractual service suppliers. All these are very, very important for us, because we are, for us, exporting services in IT, finance, hospitality, medical, and then, of course, professionals in a 12-month and 24-month period in the telecom and consultancy and finance sectors. Then, of course, investors have special provisions. And let's never forget that during COVID, we realized how important the Indian doctors and nurses are, and how they are the backbone of the NHS system. And everywhere I went in the UK, in all the 4 regions, I would be, encouraged to work on, facilitation of doctors and nurses working in the UK within the framework of their rules, their internal rules, and their home ministry's rules. So we also have this agreed to negotiate mutual recognition agreements to facilitate the movement of professionals, so that we mutually recognize each other's degrees. And for that also we've given a timeline. So while the FTA does not include provisions for student visas or post-study work rights, so much else has been agreed to. And students will come into educational exchanges, and that will probably be another framework. I mean, we respect the sensitivity of our partners, and we had thought that it would be very, very sensible to focus on areas where both sides can come forward for our mutual benefit, and not get into areas where it is going to be difficult. Those we will tackle under the appropriate within the appropriate headings and the appropriate ministries.
Fair enough, but just for the benefit of viewers joining us from India, the UK and around the world, so that they have a better understanding of the complexities of the issue at hand here, Ambassador Kumar, could PM Starmer be reluctant to relax visa rules because immigration is a hot button issue in the UK, for instance? Could it be because the Starmer government is coming under pressure to cut the levels of immigration into the UK?
Well, that of course, we all read the newspapers. We see that it's a huge domestic political issue.
Mhm.
We know that the political parties will bring pressure on PM Starmer on this, and so he's not likely to broaden the access to the UK. He is more likely to make it more selective and kind of narrowed a bit. But that's their sovereign right, and it's part of our excellent partnership and bilateral relationship that we work together within their constraints and our ambitions to make a very, very good agreement that will build on our complementary strengths, of course, and also the way that we can make it a mutually beneficial
Right.
kind of an agreement. But I must say
Sure.
that, for example, mobility of Indian students
Mhm.
to gain experience in India, mobility of Indian professionals, chefs, yoga instructors, classical musicians, niche service providers. I mean, so much has been covered in
Mhm.
this comprehensive economic and trade
Right.
agreement that it's really exhilarating. Social security exemption. Indian IT professionals and companies are going to be exempt from this very, very onerous contribution from which they gained no benefit. So it would just be like throwing away money into a well
Indeed.
and coming back after 3 years. So I'm very, very delighted to see what has been achieved.
Okay, so we've discussed day one of the PM Starmer's visit to India, Ambassador Kumar. Looking ahead to day two now, what do you think will be on the agenda when the two prime ministers hold talks in Mumbai on Thursday?
It is really, I don't know how they're going to talk about everything
Mhm.
within the short period of a 1 hour meeting. So I'm sure that the two prime ministers will, carry out a review of the progress in the implementation of the roadmap. We had drawn up a roadmap reflecting our ambitions and our common objectives, not only in our bilateral agenda, but also on regional and global issues of shared concern and interest, where we wanted to take initiatives, for example, when it comes to renewables, when it's climate change, whether it is, the One Sun, One World, One Grid initiative, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, where we help third countries with
Right.
our initiatives. So we will have so this is this very comprehensive
Mhm.
strategic partnership document called Vision 2035. These initiatives had been endorsed by them on July 24th. And so far, the progress in the different tracks has been encouraging. The roadmap signed in May 2021 had really set a pathway for us to achieve things together on a very, very broad agenda, from space and defense and security to technology, education, food security, energy, renewables. All these are things where we are natural partners. We
Mhm.
find that there is so much that India and the UK can be a part of the solution for the world, bring solutions for the world, apart from bringing our communities together, our people together in education, cultural, and other
Right.
pursuits as well.
And
So
before we,
all these will be
sure,
covered by the two prime ministers
sure.
when they meet, but of course it'll have to be followed up by the two delegations
Indeed.
in greater detail.
A quick question before we close, Ambassador Kumar. Now, talking about the bilateral ties, you think counter-terrorism is an important pillar of the bilateral talks? And if that's the case, does New Delhi have some concerns over Sikh extremist groups operating in the UK?
Of course. If you look at the UK
Mhm.
as a permanent member of the UN Security Council,
Mhm.
wanting, supporting India to be a permanent member of the UN Security Council, then we talk about, in the integrated review, they talk about India being a very important and key, strategic and security partner in the Indo-Pacific. We are acknowledged as a partner in global security. So when we are in the process of taking our defense and security cooperation to a qualitatively new level of co-development and co-production, when we are working on maritime security together, cyber security together, it is but natural that we should be equally concerned and equally sensitive to each other's very day-to-day security concerns. And for us, one such security concern is anti-India elements, secessionists operating freely from UK soil. So they take advantage of the platforms that they have access to in prestigious UK institutions, and they say this is our right to protest. So these are British citizens, and we would like the British government to do more and more action to curb their anti-India activities from the UK soil. And we have sensitized the UK government that it just doesn't help unless it just doesn't help to build trust if these people are allowed to carry on unfettered.
Indeed.
And we have had a good response from the British side, and of course both sides expect much more on this agenda item from each other.
Or I will leave it at that. Ambassador Gayatri Isar Kumar, thank you for joining us and sharing your perspectives with our viewers at home and abroad. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated. In some other news we're tracking here on DD India News Hour, the Indian Air Force celebrated its 93rd Foundation Day on Wednesday, marking nearly a century of service and discipline. The celebrations included a grand parade, flypasts, and demonstrations of the Air Force's capabilities. This year's celebrations place a strong emphasis on Operation Sindoor, the Indian Air Force's response to Pakistan-based terrorist infrastructure following the Pahalgam terror attack in April. Indian Air Force Chief, Air Chief Marshal A.P. Singh said Operation Sindoor is a shining example of what can be achieved through meticulous planning, disciplined training, and determined execution.
Our performance in Operation Sindoor fills us with professional pride. We proved to the world how air power can be effectively used in shaping military outcomes in just a few days. India's bold and precise attacks restored the rightful place of offensive air action in the national consciousness. Our robust air defense architecture and offensive employment of long-range surface-to-air missile systems limited the anniversary's freedom to operate and ensured safety of our vital assets. The outstanding performance of indigenously developed and integrated weapons, which delivered precise and devastating blows deep inside enemy territory, vindicates our faith in homegrown capabilities. Operation Sindoor is a shining example of what can be achieved through meticulous planning, disciplined training, and determined execution.
And DD India's Nandita Dagar was at the Hindon Air Base, where the 93rd Air Force Day Parade was held on Wednesday. She filed this report on the stellar year that the Indian Air Force has had, with a decisive victory in Operation Sindoor.
It has been raining over Hindon for the past 3 days, but today the weather held and it did not rain over the Air Force Day Parade. What a day it has been for our Air Force. What a year it has been for our Air Force. At the start of Operation Sindoor, the Pakistani terrorist headquarters of Bahawalpur and Muridke were reduced to rubble by our standoff long-range air-to-ground missiles of our Air Force. Rahim Yar Khan and Sargoda runways were hit hard and cratered. The Jacobabad, Bhulari and Sukur hangars were bombed hard, and the F-16s, AWACS and the UAVs parked there were sitting ducks. They had no chance. Even the Chaklala Air Base, which is just 10 kilometers from the Pakistani military headquarters of Rawalpindi, was not spared. All this is borne not just by our Indian intelligence and high-tech cameras, but also internationally available commercial satellite imagery and the photos and videos that the Pakistani themselves were disseminating. Operation Sindoor is a testament of the level of jointness or synergy that the Air Force has achieved with the Army and Navy along with the other agencies. But most of all, Operation Sindoor is a demonstration of our Air Force's decisive air superiority over the Pakistani Air Force. It was striking at will wherever it wanted, whenever it wanted, after rendering the Pakistani Air Force blind and vulnerable. In other words, our Air Force is never failing, not penetrable, and always precise. Translated into Hindi, it means achuk, abhedya, and satik. And that is the Air Force's motto. With camera person Vishwabandhu in Hindon in Ghaziabad, this is Nandita Dagar for DD India.
In some more news from India, France's ambassador to India visited the Central Institute of Higher Tibetan Studies at Sarnath on Wednesday and interacted with the Vice-Chancellor and faculty there. The envoy spoke to DD India about how Varanasi has managed to retain its spirituality in spite of the changing times.
Varanasi has changed a lot, but not so much. As I said, the holy city, I mean, you always feel this special impression. It's so, well, this is India. So when we are in Varanasi, we are here really in the core of the spirituality of what's India.
The global economy is faring better than expected, propped up by a resilient United States, the IMF chief says, ahead of next week's gathering of finance ministers and central bank governors in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday.
How is the world economy coping? Short answer, better than feared, but worse than we need.
And gold raced past $4,000 per ounce for the first time on Wednesday as investors piled into a historic rally in the safe haven asset to hedge against global economic and geopolitical uncertainties while also betting on U.S. interest rate cuts. Spot gold was up 1.3% at $4,034.59 per ounce. Silver also latched on to gold's rally, gaining 2.2% to $48.85 per ounce and just a little away from its all-time high of $49.51. Gold has always been seen as a store of value during times of instability. Spot gold is up about 54% year to year after gaining 27% last year. It's one of the best performing assets of 2025, outpacing advances in global equity markets and Bitcoin and losses for the US dollar and crude oil. The 21st International Education Show opened at the Expo Center Sharjah in the UAE on Wednesday. It brings together more than 100 universities and academic institutions from 16 countries. Supported by India's Ministry of Education and the UAE's Ministry of Higher Education, the event offers students and parents 4 days of academic interaction and networking. At the India Pavilion, the Deputy General Manager of Educational Consultants India Limited, KK Gautam, highlighted the Study in India initiative, which showcases India's vast network of universities and colleges offering diverse global standard programs.
This year, it's been almost 8 years when we've been running the Study in India program, which is a flagship initiative of Ministry of Education, Government of India, where we, endorse foreign students to participate in the, our higher education process in the Indian subcontinent. And this year, we have made off changes in the Study in India portal, where e-visa provision has been made, FRR module has been included. This is basically a one-stop platform for all the students, aspiring students who want to study in India.
A Niti Aayog report on AI for inclusive societal development was released in New Delhi on Wednesday. The Niti Aayog is the apex public policy think tank of the Indian government. The report was released by Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Jayant Chaudhary. The report provided recommendations for Mission Digital Shram Setu that seeks to empower India's informal workforce with AI skills and tools.
We are a large population of people who will benefit from the impact on their own productivity and their creating aspirational livelihoods for themselves by using these technologies. And I think that speaks to what our Secretary Meti said, that there are always doubts that technology can exclude, technology can empower. The Indian experience has been that people who are perhaps not graduates, who are not part of the formal education system, have leapfrogged encumbrances by just adapting technology. daily wage rate for a lot of these informal sector people is about $5 a day, $5 to $6. So 400 to 500 rupees a day is what they get in good times. The question is, if they have to be $14,000 a day, they have to earn about $50 a day. That's the kind of switch. It's a 10-time shift. And it cannot happen by them working harder or putting in long hours. There are only 24 hours in a day, and how much more can they work hard? You have to tech enable them to actually be more productive and have more income.
The size of India's informal workforce is nearly 500 million. The report suggests that AI intervention can help transform India's informal workforce into a formal, empowered and future-ready labor force. Some of its key recommendations include, for instance, take a look, establish multi-tiered coordination forums across stakeholder groups, facilitate collaborations across tech firms, manufacturers, skilling bodies, AI labs, academia and civil society, create enabling tools to balance need for innovation with worker protection, identify and quantify gaps between emerging tech and ground-level outcomes, and define holistic key performance indicators to track impact. The Embassy of India in Tokyo, Japan hosted an event on the partnership between the Indian state of Haryana and the Japanese region of Shimane. The event brought together leaders, investors and community members to promote cooperation in trade, tourism and culture. DD India's Polomi Burman reports.
In a unique show of regional diplomacy, the Haryana-Shimane Partnership event at the Indian Embassy in Tokyo spotlighted new opportunities in investment, tourism and cultural exchange between India and Japan. Haryana Chief Minister Shri Naib Singh Saini held a series of high-level discussions with Japanese investors focusing on enhancing economic ties and people-to-people connections.
भारत और जापान के बीच के संबंध प्राचीन और गहरे हैं। वहीं हरियाणा जापान संबंध दोनों पक्षों के बीच आधुनिक समय की भागीदारी का उदाहरण भी ये प्रस्तुत करता है। मुझे ये भी खुशी है कि आज हरियाणा में लगभग 400 जापानीज कंपनियां और 4000 से अधिक हमारे जापानी नागरिक कार्यरत हैं।
The governor of the Shimane Prefecture, Tatsuya Maruyama, the speaker of the Shimane Prefectural Assembly and the mayor of Matsue City were also present, reflecting strong commitment from both sides to deepen regional cooperation and ties.
島根県はこの年に一度、1年に一度、この日本中の神々が集まられますこの出雲大社に代表されますこの古代の神話や歴史、そしてこの各地のこの温泉が多数存在するほか、日本酒発祥の地ともされるなど、この豊かな自然とともに多様なこの魅力あふれる地域であります。
Adding flavor to the day, stalls inside the embassy showcased Shimane's local delicacies from sushi to sake to matcha and strawberries, giving guests a cultural taste of Shimane Prefecture. The evening concluded with the Gita Mahotsav celebrated by the Indian community in Tokyo. The Haryana CM personally invited the Indian diaspora to visit Kurukshetra for the grand Gita Mahotsav celebrations. Here at the Embassy of India in Tokyo, the partnership event between Haryana and the Shimane Prefecture brought together stakeholders from both the nations. With the Haryana CM and the governor of the Shimane Prefecture being in attendance, this event focuses on highlighting strategic business investments and tourism through high-level meetings and cross-cultural events throughout the day. This is Polomi Burman reporting from Tokyo for DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India News. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can get the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. You may wish to scan the QR code that is now on the screen to download it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.